What is up, everybody? This is your guy Cly, and welcome back to Budget Buys. And today we're going to be talking about the Bugha LED gaming soundbar from fivebelow. This is part of the latest wave of Bugha branded gaming gear coming out of the store, and hopefully not the last. Though we'll see, because fivebelow has been doing some pretty interesting things when it comes to gaming hardware. But more about that towards the end of the video. For now, let's focus on the topic at hand and flip this box over to take a look at some of the features. This is a USB-powered dual-mode soundbar with both a 3.5mm audio jack as well as Bluetooth 5.1 connectivity, a driver diameter of 52mm, an impedance of 4 ohms, a built-in USB power cable that comes in at 1.2 meters, as well as an RGB LED light. Now, as for what you get inside the box, you receive the speaker itself, the manual, as well as the aforementioned 1.2 meter 3.5mm audio cable. Also, some of you may have noticed that I didn't mention a Bugha collector's card in that list of things in the box, and that's because most of this wave of gaming gear doesn't come with one, which I thought was interesting because in addition to the 7 cards that you get out of the first wave, the second wave, which admittedly only consisted of a single item, that being the one-handed LED gaming keyboard, also came with a collector's card. Side note, the one-handed LED gaming keyboard is my favorite piece out of the collection to date. I am a huge proponent of one-handed / half gaming keyboards, and they don't get anywhere near enough love. Also, I said most of the items out of this wave don't come with a collector's card because some of the items in this wave are sold as alternatives to items out of the first wave, and as such, the redesigned gaming headsets in this wave do come with the appropriate collector's card. In this case, it's card number 1. There's also an alternate headphone stand in this wave, but as of the recording of this video, it's still not popped up in my local store nor on the website. So it remains to be seen, at least by me, as to whether or not it comes with the appropriate collector's card. Now, on to the speaker itself. As I said before, this is a dual mode connectivity speaker with 3.5mm audio input, as well as Bluetooth 5.1 and 52mm audio drivers. It comes in at around 30 centimeters or just shy of 1 foot by 7 centimeters or just shy of 3 inches by 5.5 centimeters or just over 2 inches if you measure from back to the front of the grill. On the back, we have the 3.5mm audio jack. Let me go ahead and adjust the angle so you can see that. A rather stiff power switch, and the built-in USB cable. Also, we have some little rubber foam feet on the bottom. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that while this speaker does hook into a USB port, it is not a USB speaker. There is no USB sound card in here. When you plug it in, it is just drawing power. And I feel the need to mention this because USB speakers and USB headphones are a thing. Just not this thing. Now prepare yourself, because when I turn this speaker on, it's going to automatically go into Bluetooth mode and make quite a loud noise. I've got it plugged in now, so let's go ahead and power on. And a slight jump cut while I went to get an audio cable, because if you plug that in, it will go out of Bluetooth mode and into straight up 3.5mm audio input mode. Now let me go ahead and unplug that cable to make the loud noise one more time so I can sit this upright for one thing I want to say. There we go. Oh, you gotta love that. And the thing I want to say is that I absolutely hate these LEDs. Instead of going for a nice smooth transition like they've done in many of their other products, we have this flashing mode where it just starts going slow and then fast, and then both sides get out of sync with each other, and I hate it. But you know what? That's a personal preference. You might not mind it, so I'm just gonna leave that out there. Okay, so my impression of the audio is that it's a little bit treble heavy and gets pretty darn close to being tinny. It also kind of reverberates in the shell a little bit more than I'd like. It could definitely do with a little more bass. But I guess that's kind of to be expected since this soundbar is a bit of a compromise between the previous Bugha speakers that come with a subwoofer as well as the wireless gaming speaker soundbar that I reviewed previously. Also, in that video, I do believe I talked about how I thought this was going to be the coming of a new budget gaming hardware line, and I was kind of right. They've re-released this speaker as well as several other pieces of their gaming hardware, and even a few new items in the unlocked level line, which comes in at around $5 a pop versus the Bugha line's $10 a pop. Though, that wireless soundbar does still come in at the $6 price tag that it did originally. And don't worry, I've piled up quite a few of the unlocked level items, and reviews of those will be coming in the hopefully not too distant future. Even better, that's still not all Five Below is going to be doing with gaming, and it's going to get kind of crazy here. And on a semi-related note to that tangent, I want to go ahead and say that I'm still not the biggest fan about using Bluetooth audio devices while gaming. Because if you're in the middle of a game that requires split-second response to audio cues, you're going to get thrown for a loop since there is still an ever so slight delay when playing audio over Bluetooth. But at least they didn't try slipping a microphone into this, so my primary complaint when I reviewed the gaming LED wireless earbuds is not applicable here. Unfortunately, you're going to be hearing more about that in another video. Now, I have two more complaints that I need to make about this speaker, and those revolve around the 3.5mm audio jack back here. Now, in the previous test, there wasn't really that much of an issue when it came to the audio outside of the tinniness, but that's because I gave this speaker the best chance it has at succeeding. And after doing a bit more testing, turns out I did the same thing with the previous Bugha speakers. Because both of these speakers have the exact same issue, and that is ground loops. Most of you probably have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about there, but anybody watching this video who has even the slightest experience setting up hi-fi equipment probably just slipped into a 1,000-yard stare. In simple terms, a ground loop is a bit of interference that you get in audio devices when their power source and audio source aren't properly isolated, and you get a lovely squeal. It sounds a little something like this. If you're wondering what that pulsing is, those are synced to the LEDs. Kinda like the squealing in the Bugha LED gaming microphone I reviewed a while back. Side note, if you want to get rid of the squealing in that microphone, you'll need to open it up and detach the LEDs, though sadly that won't save the microphone from its built-in limitations, locking it at FM radio audio quality. Sorry about that. Now, to get around a ground loop, you can either buy a ground loop isolator like this chunky boy here, or preferably one of the much sleeker, more modern units, which cost around $8 to $10, or you could just do like I did while recording the audio sample and have this speaker plugged into a different device for power as well as for audio. And while I used a basic USB battery power bank, you could instead go with a USB wall charger, or if you have a TV or monitor that has a USB port, you could plug it into that while having the speaker plugged into your computer or console. Well, maybe. I don't know how things will go if you're going to be playing your audio over an HDMI cable and then out of your monitor or TV, or if there's going to be a little bit of a bridge between the computer and the monitor thanks to the HDMI cable, and yeah, needless to say, that is a very large design flaw here. And the funny thing is, Five Below carries gaming speakers that don't have the ground loop issue. Specifically, the bass jack levels speakers that I reviewed ages ago, as well as the upgraded levels version, both of which will only cost you $5 versus the $10 for this one. Both of those speakers use this weird micro USB cable that terminates in both a USB power cable as well as a 3.5mm stereo cable. And if I'm not mistaken, that cable is using the same ground for both the audio and power, which would in turn eliminate the ground loop. So keep that in mind. Oh, and there's one other issue with the 3.5mm audio connection, and that's the fact that during my testing of the speaker, I kinda sheared the thing off of the PCB, as you can see in this picture. Of course, I did solder everything back together and we're all good, but if you look at this picture, this shows you exactly how much solder was originally used on the audio jack, and that's not very much. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the audio jack was actually partially detached from the motherboard when I brought this speaker home because it was already crackling and going out when I first plugged in the cable. I decided to try reseating the cable by unplugging it and plugging it back in, at which point it just completely came off the board. Fortunately, disassembling this speaker to do the repair was pretty easy. All you have to do is get this grate off, which fortunately is only really held in place by a pressure fit around the edges with a few, I wouldn't call them clips, but protrusions, as well as a very small amount of rubbery glue. You will have to pry it off, and for that I would suggest a plastic tool like this spudger over a metal one so that you don't damage the grate. And after that, you just need to remove a few small screws. And with that out of the way, I think I've covered pretty much everything I can about this $10 dual mode USB powered gaming soundbar. And hopefully that will help you make an informed decision about whether or not you should buy this, because personally, I'm kind of on the fence. If I had to get a set of gaming speakers from fivebelow, I would either get the previous Bugha speakers due to the enhanced bass from the subwoofer, though taking into account the fact that it also deals with ground loops, I would actually prefer getting one of the versions of level speakers. But if you are low on desk space, this isn't the worst idea. Just keep in mind that you will need to figure out some kind of alternate power arrangement or get your hands on a ground loop isolator. Also, as of the recording of this video, fivebelow does have one more soundbar in stock, but it's part of their even more premium $15 collection. So let me know down in the comments if you want to see me review that one as well, and maybe I'll make that happen. I just need to find room in the middle of all of these Bugha reviews, unlocked level reviews, as well as the ever-growing pile of mechanical keyboards that I've got to review. Oh, and on the topic of mechanical keyboards, I just so happen to have recently found one that is a wireless 65% mechanical keyboard that sells for under $20. This thing set me back only $17, and I've seen it top out at around $20. Which means fivebelow could easily get it in their store as part of their $20 to $25 line. And yes, I know they keep getting more and more expensive items in the store, which, as far as I can tell, they're topping out at $25. So instead of fivebelow, maybe we should start calling them 5x5below or 5 squared below. I don't know. Either way, I'm just really excited to see what the future holds when it comes to their gaming hardware offerings. But I think I've rambled on about tangentially related items for long enough, so until next time, this is your guy Cly, signing off.